All right, in today's video, we're going to talk about how treating life like a video game could make you manifest the dream life that you want. So, I was someone who, as you guys know, if you've listened to this channel, I was addicted to Call of Duty in high school, in early college. I was even living in a dorm, and I would bring my PS5. I would commute back and forth, and I'd bring my PS5 into the dorm, and I was just a loser. And I had a realization in my early 20s where, my digital character was maxed out. I was actually third in the world in Call of Duty. And my digital character was maxed out. I had a lot of respect, a lot of admiration. Everyone wanted to join my team, join my clan, right? Everyone wanted to play with me. But the second I stepped out into the real life, no one gave a fuck about me. And I was a complete loser, and no one gave a shit that I was third in the world in Call of Duty, and no one knew. And that's when I had the realization to where I needed to treat life like a video game. I needed to now max out and level up my IRL, or my in real life character. And so I went on this extreme self improvement and self development journey. And I told myself I was self aware enough to realize that, this isn't going to be as fun as a video game. It's not going to be as quick as a video game. This is something that basically is a years and years and years and years long process. There's a shit ton of ups and downs. It's really hard to make it to these next levels, and it's gruesome, and there's a lot of failure, and it sucks, and it's not even that fun most of the time. But I said I need to do this shit. So as most guys, I started my self improvement journey with physical fitness. I wanted to feel better about how I looked. I did it a lot for girls, confidence, and I had this belief, which is true, that you remember how I said how, when I walk into a room, no one knows that I'm third in the world in Call of Duty, and people wouldn't give a shit anyways. But when you walk in a room, if you're jacked and if you're handsome and if you got swag, everyone knows it right away. It's unspoken. So that's what I focused on mainly was physical fitness at the beginning stages of my self-improvement journey. I had a friend, treating life like a video game, being third in the world in Call of Duty, kind of having that obsessive, addictive, leveling up, competitive mindset. It really did help me, and I'll make a separate video on this, but it helped me in the corporate world. There's some Call of Duty friends that I've stayed in touch with over many years, over a decade now. And I told them, one of them, they asked me how my work was going. We catch up from time to time, and he told me, dude, I could see you actually. That makes sense. I could see you really being good at the corporate world and like climbing the ladder. And I said, oh, yeah, why is that? He goes, well, dude, he goes, like, like you were obsessed with like, climbing, on game battles is what I played on. It was like an MLG professional Call of Duty website. You were like obsessed with your rank and like you were really good at that. He goes, so I could see you applying that to I said, oh, that makes a lot of sense actually. And I realized that's what I did. you know, Ultimately, guys, life is the most important game. And it's like I said, it's not going to be that fun. It doesn't have instant, quick dopamine hits. It's the most brutal game, in my opinion, of all time. There's many brutal games out there, right? Poker, for example, is known as a brutal game. But in my opinion, the game of life is the most brutal game of all time. But it's the game that we need to focus on. Another game that I played a lot was old school RuneScape. I still play it to this day, actually. I AFK a lot when I'm working or doing other shit. And that game was just completely obsessive, right? You have to level up your wood cutting, level up your strength, your agility. And you got to attribute that, leveling up your strength, your agility, that's the gym, right? Leveling up your magic is maybe your ability to become an alchemist and control your energy and your vibration and your frequency, right? Leveling up your cooking is obviously leveling up your cooking, your fishing, right? So leveling up those things instead of the virtual character. Now, my mom told me once, I was in a mall with my family years ago, and they know that I like to cold approach a woman, in the mall and various venues. And she said, I could just tell by the look in your eye and like what the things that you do. Like, she doesn't get it, obviously. She goes, I think you treat life like a video game. Like, I don't think you understand, like, this is the real world. Like, you're like looking for girls in the mall to talk to. And that was actually a huge compliment to me because there's shit ton of videos out there where you need to treat life like a video game, right? It's benefited me. It like that mentality will help you in life. So yeah, when I was at the mall and if I'm single, I'm viewing it as like a simulation to where I need to have the confidence. I need to control my character from a third person point of view, even if it's uncomfortable, even if I have limiting self talk. I need to kind of look at myself from a third person view, almost like I'm holding a PS5 or an Xbox controller or a mouse. And I need to tell myself, hey, that pretty girl, if there's an opening, I need to go and talk to her. And that's something that, is kind of mind shattering to a lot of people, that someone could go up to a really hot girl in the mall and actually have like a thorough discussion with her, confident, get her number and try to take her out, which I've done many times. And that showed me that I was on the right path, even though my mom didn't understand it. Social skills, charisma, right? Those are things that we need to focus on leveling up as well. I think those are deeper stages. And I think ultimately those are harder skills to level up. A lot of guys, they want to focus on the physical, the bodybuilding, I think those things are easier. They're more quantifiable, right? So like, oh dude, I gained 5 pounds of muscle, like I'm progressing. And it's easier. There's kind of less rejection, less putting yourself out there when with fitness goals, right? Like if you don't accomplish your fitness goals, it's not like people are laughing at you per se, but social skills, charisma, putting yourself out there, cold approaching, going to networking events, like those things are really where you're doing the deep inner work and that are harder to do. So I feel like that's kind of phase two or end game boss level stuff is the social skills, charisma, inner work stuff. And other things I did on my self development journey is I watched thousands, and I still to this day do it. I obsessively. I watch thousands upon thousands and thousands of hours of videos just like this, right? Self improvement, self development videos on YouTube. I put them on 2x speed. I create a playlist, a watch list, and I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos. And, sometimes when I'm free or if I'm driving to work or, doing anything, laying out by the pool, getting ready in the morning, cooking, I'll play these videos and they're just completely like, about mindset, fitness, just everything self-improvement related. And that's helped me gain, get to new levels and unlock new levels and in this video game of life. But it's also helped me to gain a huge, vast wealth of knowledge. And that's one of the reasons I made this channel, is so I could have my raw, unfiltered thoughts, but also maybe help some people along the way with the things that I've learned. So, guys, ultimately, at the end of the day, you need to treat life like a simulation. It is a simulation. At the end of the day, it's a 3D simulation that we're living in, and you need to treat it like a video game. A lot of people have a lot of issues, and you need to kind of almost envision yourself from a third person point of view, and almost like it's a character and you want to max out this character. And the way I think about it a lot is, imagine you're creating a class, right? Like, with your camo, your gun, and you want to create the most badass character. Well, wouldn't you want that for you, authentically you? But what holds us back a lot is our views on, oh, what will other people think of me, our self-limiting beliefs, our insecurity, our fear of failure. But at the end of the day, when we're dead, I mean, and trust me, we're going to be dead. And in 500 years, no one is going to fucking know who the fuck you were or remember you. And even though it might be hard to do, it takes a lot of training of this certain type of mental muscle. Controlling your character from a third person point of view and just doing what you believe is going to align with your best self and get your character maxed out, even if it hurts your self-esteem or like you're embarrassed. So for example, like, dude, I'm going to go cold approach that girl because I know me on my deathbed. I know me, the real version of me wants to be able to do that. But then you get rejected or you stutter and you look like an idiot and the girl laughs at you, let's say that, right? Usually they're polite, but let's say that happened. At the end of the day, a lot of guys will be like super self-critical. They won't want to continue forward, but nope, you got to just shut that the fuck out. You got to say, dude, that was a fucking progress. It's like I almost got random grenaded in Call of Duty, right? It sucks, but I gotta spawn again and I gotta continue forward. And you got to just control yourself from a third person point of view. Just keep going to what's going to max you out, max you out. So guys, really appreciate you tuning into the video. Again, drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'd love to hear your thoughts below in the comments, and leave any video topics that you'd like me to react to, and hope you have a great rest of your day.